Welcome back, guys. It is 2025, and we are here once again with another season of Java with James. I'm joined by new to the Honda family, Rinus VeeKay. Welcome, Rinus.
Yeah, thank you. Very excited.
You should be. You should be. It's a big honor to be chosen to be the first episode of a new season of the show. Have you ever watched the show?
I have.
Like multiple episodes?
I have.
Or just one? Who have you watched?
Not on purpose. It kind of stumbled towards me, right? But
got it. Not on purpose.
I like Java. I like James.
You're a coffee guy. Yeah, well, there you go. It's kind of you to say. Okay, so you know the shtick here. What are we drinking?
We're drinking cortado. I was thinking about cappuccino first.
Okay.
But this is stronger, and I heard you hate coffee, so.
Man, this is 2 digs already in the first 30 seconds.
Yes.
Well, okay, what is a cortado?
It's a double shot of espresso.
Okay.
With just a little bit of, it's like a mini cappuccino, so it's just less milk.
Less milk, more bad stuff.
And a bit of foam, yeah.
Bit of foam. All right, well, let's take a swig and see how we did.
It's good, it's not bad. I heard Pietro's was horrible.
It's not bad, it's terrible.
It's better than that.
It's better than Pietro's, yeah. I've had a couple guys be pretty mean. Grosjean just gave me straight double espresso. That was pretty rude.
This is nice.
This is not what I would call nice. It's not the most offensive coffee drink that I've had.
No.
But so this is like a every morning thing for you?
Yeah, so I bought a coffee machine in the off-season. Actually,
like an espresso or like one of these fancy ones with handles and spouts and gauges and stuff?
In between. So it's like an espresso machine, but it's semi-automated, so it's got control tamping.
Okay.
Because I can't control my strength.
Well, no, you're just so strong. You don't even know your own.
But it's, well, the way that one is, it's like a perfect velvety, like cappuccino every morning.
Okay.
Like I don't go to coffee shops anymore because I like mine better.
Money saved.
Yeah, well, I spend most money on beans because I love beans.
So it's all about the beans.
Yeah, apparently Alex Palou has his own beans, so I got to check those out.
He's got his own beans?
Yeah.
Because I knew he had his coffee shop, but he shut it down, I thought.
Oh, not the beans.
But not the beans.
Not the beans.
So Malukas is a big coffee guy.
Okay.
He's just more a coffee drinker.
Okay.
Palou obviously knows what he's doing, but I think the real master, Palou had the shop, I think the real master is actually Felix.
Yes.
He's like a magician.
I saw his wife now at Whole Foods.
Yep.
Picking out beans that he ordered her to get.
Like requested specific beans.
That's the only time I've seen one of them looking for beans.
Looking for beans. Did you take notes? Were you like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. I'm going to get some of those beans too and see.
I'm going on my secret adventures, getting my beans from other places. Yeah.
Oh, you got like a source.
I have my own sources.
Oh, you're not sharing with the audience.
I like souvenirs. So when I go to Monterey, California, I like to every racetrack go to a local coffee shop, get some beans.
Okay.
Get something from every race. Have a souvenir that I can drink.
So you get beans from every race.
Yeah.
And the beans are that different across. I don't know how this works. They're that different from Alabama to California to Florida to Indiana.
They're all from the same part of the world, I guess. But everybody has their own. Well, every bean,
are we growing a lot of beans
wines,
in Indiana?
Right? It's like wines.
Right.
Every
it's like
wine has
the
its
blends
own
and what have
distinct taste.
Interesting.
So I like to play around with it.
Okay, so where's the best beans you found so far in the States?
So far, it's at a coffee shop in Monterey, California.
Really?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. That makes sense.
That's just straight good vibes for me.
That's the kind of thing.
When I get coffee there, yes.
So you live in Indianapolis, right?
I live in between Florida and Indianapolis.
Okay.
I'm slowly progressing towards Indianapolis, yes.
Because you were one of the guys that committed to not being in Indy for a while. You wanted to go down to Florida.
Yes.
Because did you start in Indy when you moved here?
I started in Indy, in Main Street, outside of Turn 1.
Nice.
My view was the bleachers.
Right.
So, the Speedway is awesome, but to live, as a driver, everybody's in Carmel.
Right.
And that's where I'm going to now. And the problem is when you race, you have no time for friendships outside of racing.
Right.
So all my friends are in racing, so in the end, I keep going to Carmel anyway. So,
right.
I'm starting to build a life there now.
Okay, well, let's talk about the start of your life in general, from the Netherlands. When did you get your first go-kart?
8 years old for my birthday.
Birthday, all right. Mine was 9 at my birthday.
Birthday present, and I was late, I guess, but birthday present go-kart.
Racing in the family?
Yeah, so my dad, he was, I would say, a really good amateur racer.
Okay.
So he actually raced against Dan Weldon, against Danica.
No way.
In the Formula Ford
Formula
Festival.
Ford.
He had his own Formula Ford team for a while.
Okay.
So as a little kid, I always the tires had no pebbles on them. I cleaned the pebbles off. That was my job.
That was your deal.
I love just being on a racetrack, and that's kind of how I grew up. So yeah, that was my childhood, so to speak. So yeah, I kind of grew into racing really naturally.
Right. So when you got your first go-kart, your dad was still actively racing?
He was, yes. So I mean, he kind of coached me to start, and it started out as a, once in a few weeks we would go, on a weekend we would go to a racetrack and just go karting, and really quickly it became national championships, European championships, and I mean, yeah, if we do something, we go nuts doing it.
Now, it's funny, man, I had a very similar story. My dad raced vintage cars, and I started off putting the gas in his tank and the air in his tires, and then I got a go-kart, and it was kind of one weekend his racing, one weekend mine. But then we reached a point where my dad, I guess reached a point in my racing where my dad got more enjoyment out of watching me drive than him racing himself.
Yeah.
Did you kind of have a similar thing? Like, does your dad still race, or?
He doesn't.
Okay.
No, so he also raced vintage F1 cars, 1997 Benetton F1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, really cool.
Very cool.
And actually, we have shared the track together once.
Really?
I was 16, driving 2008 GP2 car.
Okay.
With a V8 engine in there. Really cool. And my dad raced at Benetton F1, and we shared the track. We almost crashed together. But I was 16. I blame the age, but no, that was such a cool experience. But right now he doesn't want to race, or this is his life, just supporting me, and he loves it so much that he gets way more fulfillment from watching me race instead of spending the time doing it himself.
You guys are a very close family, aren't you? I mean, we see your parents at the track almost all the time. Have they ever missed a race, or are they at every single one?
They sometimes miss a race, sometimes Long Beach, 9-hour time difference coming from Europe that for one race, those kind of things. But they start missing him more often just because they know I'm settled, I'll be fine, I'll behave. So right now they were
babysitting at first, is what you're saying. I mean, you got here pretty young, to be fair. Yes. You were what, 18 or 19? 19 when you first got your IndyCar?
Yes. So, I mean, they're here again. We drove up here from my house in Fort Lauderdale. We drove up, the three of us, and they're here. They're enjoying, and I barely see them. They're just around, and they got they're respected in the paddock. So
for sure,
figured their way out.
It's so similar, man. My story is so similar to that. My parents were the same way. They'd be there a lot of the time, but I wouldn't see them. Everyone else would see them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I see your parents all the time. I love running into your parents. It's great. On the family side, you are married now.
Yes.
So how long? 2 years now?
Coming up.
Coming up on 2 years. Very cool. Wife Carmen. How did you guys meet?
We met. Actually, we're from the same hometown in the Netherlands, but we never met each other in our childhoods. I was always gone go-karting anyway. But our group of friends never matched up. But my sister, she loved kickboxing as training, and Carmen, my wife back then, she did kickboxing, and they trained together. And I would join my sister sometimes for like a group class, and that's how we first met each other. And actually, right here in St. Pete, when COVID happened, everybody went home, that's when we got in touch. And I had to go back to Europe because we weren't racing. That's when we had our first date. So actually, COVID made our relationship happen. Yeah,
that's too cool. Something good that came out of COVID.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you said she was into kickboxing, and she's competed fairly recently.
Well, she's boxing now.
So she's transitioned to boxing.
When we got together, she just transitioned to boxing.
Okay.
So she's actually right now in Mexico. I think around this time she's going to weigh in for her fight tomorrow. Her second professional fight in Mexico. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
What a dynamic relationship. You've got one hand a professional racing driver, on the other hand a professional boxer. I mean, look, drivers are tough in a certain way. I wouldn't say like overall physicality is what drivers are known for. I guess what I'm asking you is, can she beat you up?
Definitely.
100%.
One thing about boxing, technique over power, right?
Yeah.
I'm heavier. You might say I'm stronger.
Longer wingspan.
Of course.
Yeah.
But first got to be able to actually hit her.
Right.
Because she moves, like she's right behind you.
Yeah,
You don't even see her. She's so quick. And well, she just has, like we have that racing IQ when we're out there.
Yeah.
She has that ring IQ, right? That fight IQ.
Right.
It's just, it's a second nature that,
it's a great analogy.
kind of works that way.
Yeah. So, like when she asks you to take out the garbage, I assume you never say no.
Well, I do it before she asks. Oh, yes.
That is a smart man.
Yeah.
That is a smart man. No, even before it's a thing. That's too funny. So, we don't get, I mean, we have a long off season, right? When the season's on, it's pretty full on. I imagine you're training in between races, you're at the shop, all that sort of stuff. We have an annoyingly long off season. I think some people would say minimal amount of testing that we're allowed to do. What does Rinus do in his spare time?
Well, basically the off season, I parted ways with that Carpenter Racing, and right around that time, Carmen was working. My wife was working towards her pro debut in boxing, and I was kind of micromanaging, I would say.
Okay.
Like my dad did to me.
Yeah.
Your dad probably did. I kind of did everything outside of boxing. I tried to take care of her, my mind was off of racing.
That must have been a nice distraction.
It really was. But also, she was training, so I was training. We were eating clean. We had no snacks in the house, just ingredients. So, right again, this weekend, I've been in a 6-week training camp with her. If she went to the gym, I went to my gym. And we met each other for lunch again. So
that's awesome.
The off season was for training, and I've beaten all my personal records in strength and endurance. So couldn't be more fit thanks to her schedule. And on the side, of course, I mean,
there's got to be something you do for fun, though. I mean, any hobbies?
A little bit. I picked up golf. So
that's too bad. Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, well, I'm in a quarter-life crisis, so I guess that
that's
counts.
fair.
So golf, pickleball.
Yeah.
A little bit cold in Indiana now to play pickleball, but just kind of settling in as a inhabitant of Carmel,
as a Hoosier.
Exactly.
Getting used to the winters a little bit.
Yes, I keep looking at the weather forecast, and it just doesn't heat up. It pisses me off a little bit.
It's getting there, I promise.
Yes.
It's coming. A lot of the drivers, especially like guys your age, a lot of the guys that came over from Europe, a lot of them are into pickleball. Are you playing with like Lundgaard and Rosenquist and Eriksson and all Palou? I mean, all these guys are playing.
I haven't done it yet. I played a few times. Well, last year with Christian Rasmussen, my teammate back then.
Raz loves it.
He's pretty big on it. Well, I'm sure I'm going to play a lot because my building will have my apartment building will have
its own court?
Pickleball court on the roof, and I think there's a court shortage up north in Indiana. So I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of guys coming over.
Do you worry about competing with other drivers and other things? Like, do you not want to play them until you're pretty confident you can beat them, or does that not bother you?
As long as I show grit, I think it's fine. I'm fine having a skill issue. As long as I go for every ball out there, even if it's way out of reach, I'll sprint after that ball trying to get there. So I might look like a lunatic, but I'm showing them I'm doing everything I can to beat them.
You talk about grit, and we'll kind of finish it off with this, but I want to talk a little bit about your off season on a personal level. The separation from ECR was not something I think you were planning on necessarily in your short-term future. How did you kind of handle that situation, and what were sort of the big turning points for you in kind of getting over that and moving your focus on to what was next?
Well, I mean, it hit me in a blind spot, right? It was very, very unexpected, and I heard from my manager, Adrian Sussman. He told me, and I was actually in the gym watching my wife spar. So that's how everything came together, and it sucked. But not long after, I got called by Dale to test his car at the IMS Speedway, and that went so well. And we stayed in touch, and we got in touch, and we got to know each other. And we've been in talks to be here in St. Pete in Dale Coyne shirts all off season. It just came together really late, but we had something. I mean, we were fighting for something right away, so at least I had something going on all off season, something to work towards, and we weren't just blindly standing there, right?
Yeah.
We had a plan, so at least that really helped.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad that you had that plan. It sounds like you had a great support system with your wife, and
yes,
having the manager duties and the training together seems like it was a really good thing to have.
Oh, it is. It's fun.
I know a lot of fans are happy to see you back in the paddock, and I know Hana's happy to have you part of the team.
I'm very excited too. Yeah.
Have a great year. We look forward to seeing what you can do on track, and thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Looking forward to be back.
Your coffee selection is so terrible.
Sip.
I had one. I'll have a second one just for posterity, but
yeah, I'm almost done. It's great. Great job, barista.
You can have mine.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have any of your saliva.
That's fair.